Hey guys, Kevin here for Supergirl, Season 1, Episode 4, Livewire. And I initially wasn't going to watch this episode. I'm going to tell you guys why, of course, because as you guys know, this was supposed to be Episode 4, but because of the recent tragic events that happened in Paris, which, by the way, really sad what happened there. I mean, it's tragic to think about that happening anywhere, but especially in Paris, which, one of the greatest cities ever, and it has that horrible attack. It's really sad, and thoughts and prayers are with them. But I'm not here to talk about Paris. This is not a news channel. This is a review channel where I talk about entertainment stuff. So, Supergirl, of course, the episode was pushed back because of that. Because, of course, the episode had to deal with bombs, which is probably just not a good idea to do after, you have, reports of bombs on your news show. You don't really want people to think of that. So I think it was a smart move overall. My worry was that this episode was going to have events that happened in episode 4 that we had not seen yet, and that this episode really wouldn't make sense. Now, did that happen in this episode? Twice it happened, but other than that, I thought this episode was amazing. I was so surprised by how great this episode was. In fact, I think this is Supergirl's strongest entry yet. I think this is the first episode that was pretty near perfect. I mean, I really love pretty much everything going on in this episode. It was essentially not really a filler episode, but there really wasn't too much huge stuff going on, and I really like that. But let's just get into it. I really love this episode overall, and right away, we start with a really cool scene. We see DEO guards. They're escorting a humanoid-looking alien with facial features like something out of Babylon 5 through the corridors in chains. And the alien then breaks his chains, and after knocking out the guards, tears into the main control room before Supergirl comes to incapacitate him. And during the fight, she gets a call from Alex. And Alex is frustrated because Cara promised she would be there. And Cara tells her that she will be, then continues the fight. When she finally body slams the alien, tells Henshaw that he was tough, and Henshaw then corrects her that it's actually a she. So Cara is then told that she actually has the day off, she wants the day off, and this episode mainly focuses on Kara's relationship with her family, which I think is one of the reasons why it's so good. I mean, the main, arc of this episode is everyone's families. We really find out more about their families and what they're going through, and I really love that. So at Alex's apartment, she is freaking out. She's worried that her mother is going to be upset that Kara's come out as Supergirl. Obviously, because, Kara's now said that she is Supergirl. And obviously, Alex is really worried about that, mainly because of the fact that it's just not, she doesn't think that she should be telling everyone, obviously. But her mother's actually really happy to see that Kara's done that. She thinks she's a real hero. She thinks has a lot of guts to do that. And it's really interesting the relationship that Eliza, Cara, and Alex have. They have a very interesting relationship, and I thought it was one of the most interesting things about this episode. Because we see that while she really appreciates Cara, she's really not that fond of Alex. In fact, and that makes sense. I mean, think of the life that Cara has and the life that Alex has. I mean, Alex has been involved with the DEO, but Cara's doing all this other stuff. She is this reporter, at day, she's this assistant for Catco at day, and then at night she is a superhero. So she really is dealing with a lot, but then Alex really doesn't share that life with her, and it's very interesting the way we got into that in this episode, and I really like that. And then we get introduced to what I think was by far the best villain on the show. In fact, the first villain I could actually take seriously was Leslie Willis, mainly because she actually has an arc and has a reason to be here. She's a DJ who's broadcasting from a basement, and this is kind of think of like a Howard Stern kind of DJ, someone that just complains about a lot of things, and she is complaining about Supergirl. She's complaining about how she doesn't think that Supergirl is very good at what she does. She doesn't like her costume. She's complaining about her friends and everything, and Winn and James are really annoyed. Even Kat is unimpressed. Kat actually turns off the radio. In fact, this is probably Kat's most human-like episode yet. I mean, I really saw Kat as a human and not just some girl that Cara works for. I really saw her as having genuine emotion, and I really like that. So you can really see that this girl is really getting on everyone's nerves, including, surprisingly, Kat's, and I was very surprised that Kat actually cared what this girl had to say. I mean, you would think that Kat didn't give two shits, but no, she actually does care because she doesn't like what this girl has to say about Supergirl, obviously, because she doesn't think of Supergirl that way. So at the office, Cara and Winn are talking about their Thanksgiving plans, and yes, this was a Thanksgiving episode, which you really did get that feel in this episode, which I was fine with. Thanksgiving early, I'm fine with that. Because, a lot of shows are already having their Thanksgiving episodes, like Crazy Ex-Girlfriend had theirs, Jane the Virgin had theirs, why not have Supergirl have theirs? But they're talking about Thanksgiving plans, and Winn is going to go home alone and watch Orphan Black, but Cara says he has to come to her place instead. She wants to make it a Friendsgiving to basically, get over the misery of her mother and Alex, because obviously there's a lot of tension there, and I really like that, like I said, the stuff between Cara and Winn. Now, there is one reference to episode 4 when Winn says, I'm glad we're dealing with a um with a figurative bomb, because of course the episode next they're going to deal with a real bomb. So there was that, but other than one other thing, this episode you could pretty much go in without watching any other episode. So Kat has pulled Leslie into the office and tells her to leave Supergirl alone. We've realized that Leslie is basically working with Kat, and when Leslie objects, Kat tells her that she's being transferred to the traffic chopper because Kat isn't willing to buy her out of her contract to fire her. She just doesn't want to do that. Obviously, you can tell that she is the heckler, but Kat doesn't really want to say shit about Supergirl. I mean, she wants Supergirl to be painted in a good image, and Leslie warns her against it, then leaves as the lights flicker. And I know some people thought this was kind of cheese, but I really saw Leslie as just a woman that's not getting to speak her mind. She really thinks away of someone, but she's being told she can't really say that. And I thought that was definitely very interesting. So at a bar, Cara invites James to the Thanksgiving dinner. And then we see that James is with Lucy. Now, that's, of course, something that's going to happen in episode 4. We know that James and Lucy are getting together, which Lucy is played by Jenna Dewan Tatum, aka Freya from Witch the Beast Ends. So it's great to see her again. She's a great actress. I love seeing her on this show. It's great that she has another TV show. I hope she stays in it because I love her. I love her as an actress. She's hot. She's a great actress, and it's great to see her working again. And I already see a lot of chemistry between her and James, which is very interesting. You can really see they're trying to build up stuff between Cara and James, which I like seeing, but they're being very discreet about it. This isn't really a romance yet. This is simply just Cara, James won't give Cara the time of day because he's with Lucy, and other than that, that's the only other reference to last week's episode, which I was happy about because I was really worried that was going to happen. But no, the rest of the episode pretty much focuses on Cara's family and then this whole situation with Leslie, which I'll get into. So Alex comes and is still worried about her mom. Also, it seems like Lucy was a lot more cordial towards Cara, while last week it seemed like she wasn't as happy. But this week it seems like she's fine, which I like seeing. And it definitely seems like things are going to be better between James and Lucy next week, which I'm looking forward to. So I'm going to kind of think, even though next week's episode is supposed to be this week's, it doesn't really matter. I think it's going to work fine. Alex comes and is still worried about her mom, and Cara tells her that she should tell her mother about her job at the DEO, but Alex says not to. She doesn't want to tell her about that, because obviously Eliza doesn't know what Alex is really doing, and, Alex doesn't want anyone to know about that. That's just something that's very confidential. She doesn't want to tell anyone about that. I mean, she says those things for a reason. When you do those kind of jobs, you're always told you can't say any kind of activity you do outside of work. I mean, that's just a rule that you have. It's just not a good idea to do that, and it's very confidential. So Alex really doesn't want to do that, which really sucks because then Elias could see what Alex is really, how powerful Alex really is and how much, how she works just as hard as Cara. But of course, Alex, Eliza doesn't know that. So Leslie's traffic chopper hits turbulence. The pilot wants to turn back, but Leslie refuses. When it starts spinning out of control, Supergirl saves it. These effects were actually pretty good. They're definitely improving upon the effects. A lot of people have said the effects look like shit. I thought they looked okay here. When she takes Leslie's hands, a bolt of lightning hits both of them, and basically, we'll get into that. So, at the hospital, Kat feels guilty for having put Leslie in the traffic chopper, and I was surprised by the guilt that Kat had. I mean, you'd think the Kat would just be like, whatever, I don't give a shit, she died, whatever, she's hurt. But no, Kat actually has sympathy. She actually feels like she caused this death, which was really interesting. It might have been a bit out of character for her, but I don't see it as that. I see it as Kat, and, we actually realize why Kat is the way she is in this episode, and I really like that. The only thing is, next week, I'm looking forward to, I'm not looking forward to seeing Kat as the bitch again, because here we really don't see her that way. She really doesn't want to admit to Cara that she does feel guilty for Leslie, but she definitely does. You can tell she has that guilt. And before leaving, she even tells Leslie to get up. Like, she wants to help her out. And you really see that she feels like she could be, the one that builds her up again. So at Alex's apartment, Eliza tells her to turn the TV off. She tells her she doesn't understand how Alex can allow Cara to put on the costume. She says she thought she could count on Alex to look out for Cara, because she really, even though Cara's working as hard as she does, she blames Alex for Cara being Supergirl, and Alex leaves to go back to work. And then we see some flashbacks in the episode, which I really like seeing. I think it's really great when the show shows flashbacks. We see a flashback where Eliza brings Jeremiah Danvers inside, and as soon as they're gone, Cara takes Alex out for a flight. And obviously, Alex is really reluctant. Cara wants to go, and you see that Cara was just as rebellious as she was now, and I really like seeing that. And I like seeing Jeremiah Danvers as well. I mean, just the relation between Eliza and Jeremiah was really good. I really liked it. So back in National City, Leslie is now out of the hospital, walking around with lightning coming off her hands, and I know some people are like, "Oh, this is like Fantastic Four with Doctor Doom." Yes, well, this is actually if Doctor Doom had some development. Like, see, guys, if he had some development, then this is what he would have gotten. So he's walking around with lightning coming off her hands, and when a man accosts her in an alley, she unconsciously blasts him with electricity and gets a rush from it, and she starts to realize that this is what she wants to do. You know, she professionally heckled people, and now she's going to blast them with electricity when they make fun of her, which is definitely very interesting. I found her, I found her villain overall to be actually very compelling. I really liked her in this episode. So at Thanksgiving dinner, I love the scene where Eliza tells Cara to fix the turkey, and then she just beams it with her eyes. I mean, that was awesome. Just showing her powers like that is great. And that's something that we wouldn't be able to get if Cara not told everyone in that room. That's something you guys have to remember. I know people are upset that she told Winn and James, but think about it, we could not have gotten that scene if Cara would have, had to hide her cover, obviously. So things are awkward between a drunk Alex and Eliza. Alex is drunk. She's obviously a big fan of Cara. Cara leaves the table to take a quick call from James. Obviously, things are very awkward. I love how Winn was trying to lighten things up and keep things happy, and Cara wants to talk about everything that they're thankful for, but they're just really not in the mood. They don't really want to talk about it. I like how Cara is trying to keep the family together, but they're just not really into it. So she goes to take a quick call from James, who says he's stuffed and a little bored. Cara tells him to have fun with Lucy, and he says happy Thanksgiving. And I like how Cara said that she just needed to talk to James because obviously things are really intense, and she wants James there. You can definitely tell that James, likes Lucy, but Cara clearly does have feelings for him. You can just tell in this episode that that's definitely starting to happen. Back at the table, when Winn starts asking Eliza about work, it prompts Alex to come clean about the DEO, which I was surprised that she did. And Eliza chastises her, including questioning whether she thinks Jeremiah would be proud of this. She really doesn't think that Alex should be doing this because she really obviously is worried about her daughter's safety. I mean, obviously, she doesn't think it's safe what she's doing. She wants to protect Cara. I mean, obviously, there are a lot of things that Eliza's not happy about. And it's interesting the way that Eliza reacted about the deal. I thought she would be happy with Alex, but no, she's pretty pissed at her, actually. And I can understand. I mean, she has been very vocal though about Cara being Supergirl and what she can and cannot do, and so has Henshaw, but Eliza clearly doesn't understand that. So after Alex and Winn leave, Cara asks Eliza why she's always been so much harder on Alex. This was actually a really great scene. I really love this scene. She asks Eliza why she's been so much harder on Alex than on Cara, and Eliza doesn't get a chance to answer, because Cara talks about how, well, you've always been there for me, not for Alex and everything, and Cara then gets a call from Kat that she has to answer, and as Supergirl, of course. And in the flashback, Jeremiah yells at the teenage girls for going on a flight as they're being yelled at. There's a knock at the door, and obviously they're blaming Alex over Cara. You can tell this is not something new. They've done this all their life. There's a knock at the door. Jeremiah tells him to go upstairs. He answered the door, and it's Henshaw. Henshaw's at the door. Why is he at the door? We don't know, but he's at the door, and Henshaw becomes even more compelling in this episode, definitely. He definitely is getting the Harrison Wells treatment. You can tell they're trying to do something different with him, but he definitely is getting that Harrison Wells treatment, as in, there's just something shady about him. There's something sketchy, and we don't know what it is. So at Catco, Kat has a conference call to Beijing, and nothing is working. Cara tries to work on the computer, but when Cara says she thinks they need Winn, I love when Kat's like, who's a Winn? And she's like, the IT guy you work for. I love that Kat didn't even know who Winn was. That's hilarious. All the lights go out, and Leslie is now calling herself Livewire, and is broadcasting straight to Kat's TV bank in her office. She then appears in front of Kat and starts firing off electricity, and Cara rushes Kat into a corner to hide. Then Kat sends her 20 floors down to get security, and as Livewire confronts Kat, Supergirl jumps in front of the blast, offering to help Leslie. During the fight, Livewire feeds off Supergirl's vision powers and then attacks an elevator Kat finds herself in. Supergirl flies down the elevator. She has to save Kat, and this is actually a really intense scene. I mean, just the fact that Supergirl was actually helping out Kat, I really like seeing this here. So at Catco, Henshaw and Cara watch coverage of Livewire-related blackouts. Henshaw figured that it wasn't the lightning, but the way lightning got focused through Cara's body that created a supervillain. And they strategized about how to beat her, with Henshaw offering up a weapon from the DEO's armory. So after Henshaw leaves, Kat tells Cara to go home, and after a brief talk about Kat about mothers and daughters, this scene was amazing. Callista Flockhart in this scene, amazing stuff here. I mean, she a lot of times isn't a very likable character, like I said, but I think this is the scene where you really start to understand really what's going on with Kat, and I really love this. Talking about mothers and daughters and how daughters can influence their mothers and things like that, which is very much true. I mean, you definitely see that with Kat and her mother because we realize that Kat reveals she is who she is because of her disapproving mother. Her mother was never a fan of her, which is definitely like Alex and Liza. And Kat says she feels like it's her fault Leslie became Livewire, that she rewarded Leslie's bad behavior instead of holding her to a higher standard because it gave them ratings. Which is true. I mean, she probably should have not, she probably should have said, I don't like what you're doing. I don't condone what you're doing. But she didn't fire her. And I think Kat feels like if she would have fired her, this would not have happened. Because she just made her feel like she was doing the right thing and she really wasn't. And I like that she actually holds guilt for that. That's something that I love. I mean, just seeing this human side of Kat is something we haven't seen before. And I love it. I think it's amazing that we're seeing that. So I like seeing that genuine emotion the Kat has for Leslie. I really love seeing that. I think that's why and I really didn't think the villain in this episode was Livewire. I think the villain in this episode is regret, honestly. I think that really is the villain. Because think about it. Leslie would not become Livewire if Kat would have just fired her. If Kat would have fired her, this would not have happened to Leslie. If, she probably would not be Livewire right now, and she probably would be dead, but Kat would probably still be grieving. But it's really all about the regret that Kat has for doing this to Leslie. And that's a really deep theme. I was very impressed the show went in that direction, and I really love that, I have to say. Definitely amazing stuff there. So at home, Alex goes check on Eliza, who apologized for what she said about her dad and how, she thought her dad wasn't there and everything. That Alex always makes the hard choices. And Alex asks why Eliza was so hard on her and not on Cara. And Eliza says that she just wanted Alex to be better than her. But that didn't mean she didn't love her. And it's a really sweet scene. Alex has always been her Supergirl. It's kind of a cheesy line, but I like that scene overall. I thought it was really sweet. Alex apologized for lying about the DEO, and Eliza says there's something she needs to tell both the girls before she can say anything more. Now, I definitely feel this news is about Henshaw. We don't know what it is, but it definitely is about Henshaw. Alex sets a call, goes to take care of something at work, and I love that Eliza didn't reveal what she was going to tell them. It was definitely very interesting, obviously, because we don't know what she's going to tell them. We do find out later, but we don't know right now. So at Catco, Cat's drinking wine when Supergirl arrives, and Cat says she'll help draw Livewire out if Supergirl will help her catch the baddie. She actually wants to work with Supergirl, and I like seeing that here. So at the DEO, they give Cara a trap to use against Livewire, and at Catco Plaza, Cat broadcasts calling out Leslie. She invites her to where it all started, and they meet in the street where Cat had discovered Leslie. So after briefly trying to reason with her, Livewire blasts a Cat, Supergirl comes to rescue while Livewire briefly gets the best of her, making it impossible to use the DEO's trap, and Supergirl touses her with water from an underground pipe, knocking Livewire out, and that was an awesome scene. I really love that. I mean, that was really crazy. I mean, Livewire clearly cannot stand a chance against Supergirl. I mean, she just can't. So, and this one made sense, though. I know a lot of people are like, well, why can't all these people stand a chance against her? This is a brand new villain. She's still not really capable of her abilities, while Cara definitely is. So back at Catco the next day, she gives Winn leftovers, and we find in the scene, Winn actually talks about his father is a really terrible person. He's been in prison. He's grateful for having been included in her holiday. And if you guys don't know, his father is going to be the toy maker, which I think is interesting. Originally, he was going to be, but now his father is going to be. And I'm looking forward to seeing how they deal with that. And just a little foreshadowing that we're going to get into the toy maker, which I really feel is going to take up probably the bulk of the second half of the season. So he kisses her on the cheek, and she regrets it. She kind of seems taken aback by it, and it looks like he's about to, confess his feelings for her. You can really see that in the scene he wants to, but just then James and Lucy show up. It's probably the worst time for that to happen. You see him give them this look, and I thought this was genuinely really well done, because this is not in any way a love triangle. Cara does not really understand her feelings for James or for Winn. I think she sees Winn as just her best friend. I mean, she even said in this episode, my best friend in the entire world. That's what she sees Winn as, and Winn clearly sees her as a lot more. He sees her as as a lover. He sees her as someone he really wants to be with. That's what he sees her as, while she sees him as just her friend. And maybe that'll change eventually, but for right now, at least, that's not what it seems like. So just then, James and Lucy show up, and James asks if she's okay, how Cara is doing, and she says she's glad to have him back, and I like that scene between James and Cara, definitely, but again, you can just see how things were ruined for Winn. I felt really bad for him in this episode, definitely. Jeremy Jordan really did a great job with that emotion. So she heads into Kat's office with a number of paparazzi photos. Kat opts instead to run some positivity with a photo essay on people who volunteer to soup kitchens, and Cara said it's a great idea, and I like that Kat actually wants to do this. She's realizing that that's what's more important. It's more about doing things for others, and Kat tells her that after learning about her parents' death and her life with a foster family, Kat wants to know more about her, and obviously, that's not good because she's gonna reveal that she's Supergirl. Now, I really feel like the way the Cat and Cara are bonding, Kara's gonna tell her she's Supergirl. I really see that happening very soon. Not yet, but that's definitely gonna happen. I mean, just this scene really seemed like she's gonna end up telling her at some point. I feel like it's gonna be the most conflicted thing where she's like, should I tell her? Should I not? Obviously, it could be broadcast. It could be really bad if I do, but I feel like eventually she's gonna tell her. It's very interesting, and I really like that. So at home, Eliza Danvers tells the girls that Jeremiah's death wasn't in a plane crash, that she never believed that, even though it's what they told her, and, that it actually wasn't a plane crash. And then we see in a flashback, Henshaw and company want to take Cara away. Jeremiah instead offers himself up to work for the DEO, and now we see why Eliza hates the DEO so much. He knows everything that there is to know about Superman. He'll turn over that research, but they have to leave Cara alone. Henshaw tells him, welcome to the DEO, and, it seems like he's going to be in the DEO now. So Eliza tells him that her husband died working for Henshaw. So that's the main reason why Eliza doesn't like the DEO. And I think that was very effective because before it seemed like she just wanted the best for her daughter. But no, she's upset because her husband died working for this company, obviously. And she really felt bad about it. And I like finding that out. Definitely. It was a very powerful scene. So definitely something had to have happened there. And I don't know if it involves Henshaw or if it involves the men there. But definitely a very shady organization. Definitely. Something bad is I feel like it's foreshadowing that something bad is going to happen to Alex. I don't know exactly what, but definitely is very interesting. So Henshaw congratulates Cara on her capture of Livewire. Both of the girls stonewall him, and Alex says they have to find out what happened to Jeremiah, and obviously they want to know how he died. This is basically setting up for the rest of the season. Cara agrees, and that's how the episode ends. Only downfall is that we're not going to get any of that next week, but what a great episode this was. Seriously, guys, this was a really great episode. I really loved everything going on in it. There's some really great emotion in this episode. You really saw characters in this episode. Like, before, I think we've seen these characters introduced, but this was really the first episode with genuine character development for the secondary characters, and I love it, specifically Cats. Do you think that Kat and Cara are going to be working together now? Like I said, I'm really worried that Cara is going to feel compelled to tell Kat her secret, which in the long run, I can understand why. I mean, she's developed a bond with Kat. She thinks that she can trust Kat. I can totally understand that. But obviously, it's not a good idea because we know that Kat is very vocal with what she says, and she could end up broadcasting it to the world, and that could be really bad for Cara, obviously. So it's not a good idea by any means, but we'll have to see what happens. That definitely is going to be very interesting. Definitely, that definitely is going to be very interesting. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what's going to happen with that if she does tell Cara. Now Henshaw. Is Henshaw responsible for Jeremiah's death? I feel like he is. I mean, those glowing red eyes, it just all makes sense. I hope they don't do what the Flash did, though, where it was like he was the reverse Flash or something. I want them to do something different. That's really my only fear here, but I don't think it's going to happen. I feel like they're going to do something different, and I really like that. The way they're setting up the toy maker is really great. Winn's, love for Cara, it really seems like it can be a lot deeper than we think, and I kind of feel like since his dad is the toy maker, maybe his father's going to try to convince him to go dark. I could definitely see that being a possibility, that his father, tries to convince him out of the rage he has, and that could be very interesting if we go there. I don't know if we're going to go there, but the way this is going, we very well could end up going into that direction, and that could definitely be very interesting to see if they do that. I'm honestly pretty interested, and I'd like them to do that. That could be really cool if they did that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with that. That definitely is going to be very interesting. I always see Eliza again. I really like the character of Eliza. I think she's doing a very good job on the show. I really do like her. I like that Leslie obviously is not dead. I like that we saw that in this episode, that Leslie's actually not dead and there's more going on with her. Are we going to see Livewire again? I'm not really sure. I feel like if we want to focus more on Kat, we need to focus on Livewire because she's a genuinely really good villain. It's really Kat's fault that this villain emerged, and I loved seeing that in this episode. Like I said, my favorite part of this episode were the emotional layers of all the characters. They really showed them very, very well. Does Cara have feelings for James? I feel like she does, but she doesn't fully understand them. While Winn is clearly just a friend to her. Winn's a friend. She's definitely more to him, but she definitely is just a friend to him. And when you say she's just a friend, right, definitely very interesting there what's going to happen. I'm also wondering if, because of what happened to Jeremiah, are they setting up that something bad's gonna happen to Alex? I don't think Alex is getting killed off. There's no way they would do that. That'd be really stupid if they did. But I do feel like something bad is gonna happen to her. Just hearing all this stuff about Jeremiah, hearing the dangers of the DEO, having Eliza be concerned, I really feel like that's what Eliza's most worried about. That she's worried that something bad's gonna happen to Alex, and we'll have to see what happens with that. We're definitely gonna see Eliza again if they're trying to figure out what's gonna happen with Jeremiah's death, which I'm definitely looking forward to. Well, I'm not looking forward to it, obviously, but now we have a genuine plot moving forward. They're gonna try to figure out what happened in Jeremiah's death, and I'm really looking forward to that. I think it's good that they actually set up a genuine plot line this episode. Like I said, my only downside is the fact that we're not gonna see this until 2 weeks, unfortunately. We have 3 episodes left, actually, guys, because there's 3 episodes left for this half of the season, if you guys didn't know that. But yeah, there is 3 episodes left, unfortunately, which really sucks because, I want to see I want to get to the, really good stuff, obviously, but we gotta wait 3 episodes. But let me know what you guys thought of this episode. I thought this was a really amazing episode. I was so impressed by how great this episode was. I mean, I expected this episode to be really good. I didn't expect it to be anything great, but it was actually a really great episode. I'm very happy they aired this 1 week early because, like I said, I think it's Supergirl's strongest entry yet. Because the episode, like I said, was all about characters. It was about the things, this what family means to them, the things they're thankful for. The scene where Winn says he's thankful for Cara, like I said, that very much felt like he was pouring his love out to her. Let me know what you guys thought of this episode. I definitely feel like if you guys were worried about Supergirl, this should definitely be the episode where you get on board with it. I feel like this is definitely the episode that proves that this is going to be a much better show than it seemed, and I really love that. Let me know what you guys thought of this episode. I will see you guys in my next video, which will be for tonight's episode of The Flash, and I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.